what's up? We're back with Behind the Bikini, and we are on episode 115 today. We are going to go into budgeting, not just for competing, but for off season, because I think most of us at this point are going into off season. If we're not, we're going into off season the next month or so. So, talking about what that looks like as far as overall expenses. But before we do that, like, comment, subscribe, hit those buttons on your devices wherever they are. And we're back another week. You're still over there recovering. How's the recovery going for you now?
Good. I just posted on my stories last night, giving everybody a little bit of an update. So today I'm 11 days post-op. Just finished up the peptide protocol, which I think has helped tremendously. I haven't taken Tylenol the last 3 days. I never took the pain medicine at all, so I was just taking Tylenol. So cool that, I'm completely off everything, off antibiotics. So now just kind of getting back into like normal flow and routine. But I'm staying up to like doing red light twice a day, and I'm still sleeping at an incline and all of those good things. But yeah, I'm feeling really good. My left one is pretty much like done. It's settled. I have a little bit of pain on the incision site. My right one, which was like the really affected one where I had a lot of issues, that one's a little bit slower to heal, but that's normal. So, but overall, really good. I love the way they look. I love the way that they feel. Like everything is just it's perfect. I would do it all over
Okay.
again if I had to in a heartbeat.
So the question I have is, why did you decide not to do painkillers?
Yeah, so a couple reasons. Number one, both of my parents are addicts, so I had a very traumatic childhood with both of my parents that way. My dad abused um, pain medicine, so it's just kind of a little triggering for me. I'm not an addict. I don't think that I couldn't not take them and not get addicted. It's just more of like a personal choice for me. Second is digestional wise, I'm really sensitive to stuff like that. So like my goal coming out of surgery the next day was like to go to the bathroom right away, and I did.
Mhm.
So when I did, I was like, okay, I'd like to really keep this going if I didn't have to. I talked to you on Wednesday, which was like my 2 days post-op, which was the most pain I've had. And I was considering taking the pain medicine. It was a conversation that Drew and I had, but then we ended up figuring out that I got sent home. I told you guys last week, like this foam, and then the bra was too tight. We just figured out that it was more of the pressure that I was feeling, not actual pain. So
Mhm.
once we got that under control, I was good. I was like, oh, this level of pain's fine. So that's why I didn't, just to kind of keep things regular and just more of that personal choice from what I've been exposed to in my past.
Yeah, and that's totally valid. I mean, that's what, that's something I think when we talk about even just with the sport, things that you're willing to do and things that you're not, it's a lot of it's some personal experience and personal convictions.
Something else too that I really kind of wanted to be an experiment on myself was because I was doing this massive peptide protocol. I really wanted to kind of see it through and see like with the peptides what they would do with
Mhm.
nothing else affecting it. So I really do feel like it helped with my pain relief and the inflammation and things like that. And it's just hard like when you have different things coming in, you don't know what's helping
What's
or
working,
what's
what's
being
not.
yeah, so and I it was an investment, peptides, they're not expensive, but they're not cheap, and I just really wanted to like, kind of see like how well it worked because obviously I have athletes that do breast augmentation all the time, so I wanted to see if the protocol was good, and if it is, I'm going to use it for
Mhm.
post-op breast augmentation, post-op, knees or whatever. So this protocol that I did was really really good. Like really really good. So I'm definitely going to be using it in the future.
Yeah, because that's something too that we talk about. Like a lot of times with peptides, you don't see the effects right away. So it's hard to know if it's actually working or if it's a placebo effect or whatever it is. And we talked about that with the GHKCU, you know what I mean? So it's like you have to have I don't know, a benchmark that you can create, you know what I mean? And I've heard this from several people that have gone through surgeries and have to repair, and just doing the peptide protocols have been very expedited the repair, you know what I mean? Like one of the things I think is like an entry level as far as peptides is concerned, is people ask us this stuff all the time, is like retatrutide, because you feel the effects immediately from that. You know what I mean? But the majority of these, when they're recovery based, you don't know if you're recovering faster. You just don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, unless you have like true pain, like a
Yeah.
BPC TB 500 that's treating that, like obviously you're going to expect pain to go down. But
Yep.
like if you're treating for like skin, hair, nails, it takes time with those
Right.
things to really see the difference. I ran the GHKCU for my scar healing. We injected it sub Q literally right here above the breasts. And GHKCU, just telling you guys, it burns like a bitch if it's
It
injectable.
does. It
It
does.
burns. It's
Okay.
no way around it. So when you do it, I would do it and then I would go right into my red light therapy for 20 minutes. And literally
Okay.
because of how it burns, I could feel it like dripping and going
Really?
down and migrating like into the pec, which was, it was so cool. This is like, gosh, this burns, but like it's moving, it's
Yeah.
traveling. And my scars are pretty much all healed up at this point. Like sealed, but obviously they
Right,
still
right,
need more
right.
time to heal, but there's no
Right.
like, open or, anything like I can't see the stitches anymore. So I really do feel like that the GHKCU helped for
No,
sure.
that's an interesting concept. Like I never thought about doing the GHKC with the red light. I'm like, okay, that's just I've got some like, let's try that, you know?
I've been doing a lot of research on it because I just invested in a pretty expensive panel, a red
Yeah.
light panel because I go through I do the courses with Dom Kuza, who coaches, and he's really into the red light therapy, especially with like MOTS-C and SS31 for like cellular processes. So we've been doing a lot of research on like the type of red light and how deep and the things that it needs to go. And I'm seeing a difference even just like with my hair, like being
Okay.
under the red light now with like the Nutrafol and like everything else. So it's just so cool like where we're at in our industry with the peptides. It's opening now like all of these other things recovery wise, like with the red light, things like that. Cold plunge therapy, that was like the big thing like a year ago. It's still a thing, but like you know what I mean? It's just every year there's just something else that's coming out to help with anything really that you're trying to
Yeah.
work on.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because like I used to be really good about the red light therapy. I actually have one. You can probably see it right here. See it sitting right there.
Hmm.
It's
Hmm.
literally a panel right next to my bed. Um, but I just got like it's one of the things I've got out of the habit, and it's the stupidest thing. But because I unplugged it from my thing because I was using the plug for my charger, and I unplugged my red light therapy, so I actually got out of the habit of just doing it. Something so stupid. We talk about this all the time when we talk about checking photos and stuff and being consistent about it. It's about the little things adding up, right? So last night I was like, I need to plug that thing back in. So I plugged it in. And the thing I forget about for me at least for the red light therapy, it's the biggest effect I feel right away is it just relaxes my whole body. Like I
100%.
was laying there trying to watch Netflix. I literally fell asleep 3 times trying to watch the same fucking scene. I was like, I gotta turn the red light therapy off so I can go back and watch the scene again. I was like, God damn, stay awake.
I
So it's
love
like,
it.
oh, that trigger in my brain, like, oh yeah, you've really got to do more of this.
Yeah, and you have to be close to it. So, like, if you do use
Yeah.
it, like, make sure it's close and like, why it feels relaxing is because you feel like that warmth.
Yep.
And like mine has like a sleep protocol. So that's the one I do in the evenings. And then I have a wound healing one on mine. So I've been doing the wound healing. But I mean, it's really good. My dogs love it. Like, and when
That's
they see
yeah.
that red light go on, Oliver comes right up here. Mine's right behind my computer. Oliver comes right up here. He sits there and Penny sits on her perch over there. They love it too. They are just literally Penny was on her back this morning, just like bathing in it.
Yeah.
But it's great for animals too.
Yeah. I mean, that makes
Yeah.
sense. And they don't go based on any marketing. They go based on how they feel. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So if anything, that should be a real indicator that this is a real thing.
exactly. They're drawn to it. They like it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's interesting. It's like, again, I'm like, oh, so I'm gonna have to try that GHKCU now. Like, I'm like thinking, I'm like, when we get off this call, I'm like, I'm gonna have to do that.
It's good. It's
I'm
really,
like,
really good.
I'm curious to see because I've never done the whole like I want to feel it dripping down thing. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm like, just gotta put it under here and drip down my abs.
Yeah, wouldn't suggest up here if you don't need it for
No,
your tits, but
no. I'm like, but I'm
yeah,
curious. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try this just because I want to see what it feels like.
yeah.
Uh, but
Be warned, it burns,
yeah.
but
Oh, it
it
does. It's one
works.
of those
Yeah.
things. Like I told this to Jamie. I think I said it on a podcast at one point too. But I was doing it before bed when I first got my last vial, and I couldn't sleep. Like to the point where like I woke up and I went and got an ice pack out of the freezer and put it like so I injected right below my bikini line. I was like, so I put
Yeah.
it right there and I went and put an ice pack on because I could literally burn so bad I couldn't fall asleep.
Yeah.
And the ice pack didn't really help either, but I tried.
Yeah. And it depends, like everybody's different that way.
Yeah.
Obviously depends on like concentration
Yeah.
and like even with MOTS-C and SS3-1, like some athletes of mine do it and they don't feel anything. Either one, I get a welt and a burn and it like itches like for a couple
Mhm.
hours after. That's just normal for me though. So I make sure I don't do that one at night. I do that one during the day. That way, like it's not like affecting me when I'm sleeping and I'm trying to like
Yeah.
stretch myself, but it's
Yep.
everybody's a little bit different that way. So like if it burns, that's normal. If you
Yep.
get a welt, that's normal. It will go down and just that's a great advice is like put some ice on it. That will really,
Yeah.
really help.
Yeah. And again, I didn't feel that from the first vial that I got from it, but the second time I did. So it's also just how your body's going to respond to like you said, concentration or whatever it might be too.
Yeah. And
Um,
the peptide companies, especially that we work with at Fit Body, they're really good at like trying to keep obviously the vials consistent, but
yeah.
it's almost impossible to get 100% consistency every single time. So one might be a little bit, you know, what am I trying to say? A little bit more concentrated than the other,
Yeah.
etc. So like one vial you could not burn at all and you reconstitute it the same way. And the next one it's like, oh my gosh, it's
Yeah.
burned so much.
Yeah. Yeah. And then,
Yeah,
and again, it's just it could be just how your body, what kind of state your body is in as well at that point in time too.
exactly.
More
Exactly.
receptive to it or whatever it might be. There's just so many. This is the issues with like the painkillers, like you said too. There's just so many variables that could affect how your body processes that stuff.
Response.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. I'm trying to think because when I had my last surgery, I did take it was just Tylenol with codeine is what it was that I had, and I did take that for like the first 5 days or something like that. But I took it like once a day. I think it was something like you could take it every 12 hours or whatever it was. I don't remember exactly, but I only took it one time a day and then I was fine. And I had like a whole like half of a container left of them, you know what I mean? But I also don't have the same personal history you do.
Yeah, and I remember too, like my first surgery, like compared to this one, that recovery was a breeze. And I took it like the first 2 days and I was like,
Yeah.
I think I'm good. I'm gonna drop this out. And then I had a lot of it left. So I went into this surgery honestly thinking it was going to be easier because everybody was saying that like the second surgery is so much easier. Da, da, da. So I was like, I'm definitely not going to need the pain meds. And then on that third day, that's when I was really struggling. I'm glad that I didn't end up needing them. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, honestly, I would say like if you're getting it done for the first time, take the pain meds. And that's
Yeah.
what my surgeon said. He's like, Jordan, you're active. Like, I just want to make sure that you're not in pain and you can sleep. Like that was his biggest thing. So like I would take them as a precaution anyway. And then after a couple days, if you don't feel like you need them, then go ahead and drop them out. And then they also give you like the Colace and stuff too to try to help you go to the bathroom if you're using it. But again, I've never had to use that stuff. So
Yeah.
thankful for that.
Back then I did like the first my
Yeah.
actually if I'm remembering correctly, think it was my first surgery I had the most problem with when it came to that kind of stuff. I was just like I can vividly remember having to use a suppository because I had never used one before and that was the first time I had to use one. So I vividly remember it.
And the anesthesia too. Like your
Yeah.
body does not like anesthesia. So like day one, Kristen for with our PMF pad, Kristen was like, run the anesthesia protocol, get that shit out of your system as fast
Yeah.
as possible. That's the best thing you can do for yourself.
Yeah.
So that's try to get it out as soon as possible. And both times, both surgeries, I requested the first appointment of the day because I do not like to hold on food or coffee. So then by the time I went to bed that night, I felt like the majority of the anesthesia was out because I was up all day. So
Yeah.
those are
Yeah.
just a couple tips and tricks, things to think of.
So just so that you can poop. That's
Yes.
what you need to do.
That's important to
It
us.
is.
That is
Well,
very
it's
important to
important. It's
us.
important just in everyday life, but especially when you're trying to recover and like when you're just sitting there and all you can do is think about it, it's like makes it worse. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Well, think about when you're hot in the hospital. One of the
Yeah.
things you have to do to get discharged is poop.
Yeah,
Like
that's
it's
right.
just a sign that everything is working as it should.
Yep. When Dan went through his hernia surgery, 2 years ago after CCTS, that's why he couldn't leave for like an extra day because he couldn't go to the bathroom. Like
Yeah.
you really go to the bathroom on your own. You can't
Yeah.
go home so you can go to the bathroom. So it was like an extra like day and a half. He said had to stay in the ER because of that.
Yeah. Because if you don't go to the bathroom, then you end up getting a blockage and you get sepsis. Like it just turns into the right. So it's just really
Yep.
important. Like
Yep.
that's so funny. We're talking about poop. Of course we
Poop.
are.
Of course.
Yep.
I mean, that's what
Bodybuilding
competitors
world.
do. We talk about poop. We talk about poop and
Yes.
food.
Yes.
That's what
This
we
is
do.
normal. This is normal.
I literally, like, I got my period not yesterday, but the day before, and I was like, all day yesterday, I was like, oh my god, I like find. This is a thing too, guys. Since we're talking about poop, period poops, it's a thing. Like, if you're having any issues with going to the bathroom, usually like your first day of your period, you will go a lot. because it's literally your body cramping, and when it does that, it's squishing it out of you. So
Yeah.
it's like
Straining everything.
it's literally a thing. It's like period poop. So yesterday it was like all day. I was like, oh my God, I go to the bathroom again. I was like, damn
Yeah.
it.
Got it. So you're sending me period vibes. I'm having a
There you
post
go.
cycle right now. Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're
It's
welcome.
always around the 7th of the month. So 6 to 7. That
Okay,
makes
there you
sense.
go. Yeah. Well, and that's, that goes back to what we were talking about with the peptides too. Like some months your period's going to hit you harder than others, it's just how your body, whatever state you're in. Technically not yesterday, but the day before was my first day of my period, but my cramps weren't that bad that day. My cramps were terrible yesterday. So it's like, it's just a matter of where your body's at. And so far today, so cross your fingers, I'm okay. But
Let's hope it keeps that way.
I know. I'm like, usually I usually have like one day during my period where I'm like, oh my God, I just don't want to get up. And that was yesterday. That was yesterday. I
Good.
still trained. I still trained and did everything though. So yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, and if you can train on that day too, it's scientifically proven that it should help your cramps, but it's just getting there and like getting the movement and the blood flow going. And then once you can get to that point, then it's supposed to help. But
Yep.
I know
Yep.
it's difficult to train on your cycle for sure.
Yeah. Well, the day before I did another one of those yoga classes at that studio, the primal flow yoga class. So maybe that's what got
How's
things
that going? Are
moving.
you still enjoying it?
Yeah, it was fun. So I've just done, that's my third class there.
Okay.
So I've done a couple yoga classes, one aerial class, and I'm going to look at the schedule for this weekend, that kind of thing, get something else in. But yeah, it was fun. That class was actually full because it's they do primal yoga, which was like the full moon or whatever it was, whatever the lunar cycle was. So it was the same kind of, almost the same kind of vibe as the first yoga class that I went to, but it's very much like releasing of energy and all that kind of stuff. It wasn't as dancey as the first one that I went to. It was more
Which do you
like,
prefer?
I liked the booty one. That's what
Okay.
I told her. So same instructor, and I said, and I don't necessarily think it was the actual yoga flow practice. I think because the first one, it was like me, another girl, and the instructor, so I was able to follow a lot easier. Versus this last class was like 15 people, so it wasn't as easy for me to hear her. It wasn't as easy for me to follow what we were doing in there.
Yeah.
Um, so it's just, I just felt a little bit disconnected from it versus the first time I felt a little bit more in it.
Yeah.
And so that was a thing for me, but it's just so funny because like vulnerable moment, usually I don't feel like in this industry, like in bodybuilding industry, I don't feel like I'm very muscular, you know what I mean? I don't feel
Mm.
like because I'm a fit model, I'm one of the smaller girls. But when you go into a class full of normal people, you start realizing, oh, I'm like, oh damn, I'm kind of big. You know what I mean? Like I started looking at myself in the mirror in comparison to everybody else. I was like, fuck. I was like, I do have a lot of muscle just in comparison to the average person. So like it was a vulnerable thing, but a confidence booster at the same time too. Because I was like, oh, all right, I look pretty good, like it was a
Well,
good
and it's
thing.
also like that body dysmorphia
Yeah,
reality check. It's
yeah,
we are our worst critics, and we always will say that.
that's
We're
right.
we're too small, we're not lean enough. Like, is my
Yes,
off-season body good? Like, is this normal? And then you really go into like a class that's not bodybuilding focused, and you're like, oh, I do have a lot
yeah,
of muscle, compared to the average Joe.
yep,
No, so it's a good kind of like self reality check of like you are where you need to be and you do have good muscle and
yeah.
you're moving
And
in the right
just
direction.
knowing your own fitness level and stuff too, because I like honestly I was nervous about going into a yoga class because I haven't done an actual class in forever. Like I do freaking YouTube videos and stuff, but like I'm like I'm not a yogi. Like I do have muscle and I'm not as flexible as I used to be, you know what I mean? And like I used to do hot yoga 5 days a week where I could do like standing
Same,
splits and stuff like that. I used to be able to do all that shit. I can't do any of that
same.
anymore. So, I'm like, all right. So I was a little bit nervous about it. And then I got in there and I'm like, oh, actually not so bad. I'm like, I guess I'm doing okay. You know what I mean? Like it's always that fear of thinking you're not good enough.
Yeah, well, and especially in a group exercise class. And I think that's where too, like a lot of people with fitness, I get like newer athletes all the time and they're like, I'm just afraid to go in the gym because I
Yep.
have no idea what to do. And it's like at
Yep.
this point in my life, I'm like, man, I can't even remember that. You know what I mean? Like when I used to walk into a gym and be like, oh, what do I do? And but I, obviously remember that anxiety.
Mhm.
I do reflect on that. So I think when you're around other people, then too, where like you have some people that are in a group exercise, you're always going to have different levels. People that can do the splits, and then somebody that can't even, do a butterfly
Right.
position. But I do love in yoga that they always remind you to like, go to where your body is at,
Right.
go at your own pace. I mean, like when I go to Jamie or go to yoga with Jamie, oh my God, that woman can do anything. And I'm like, what the
Yeah.
hell? Like she makes you feel like so small in yoga.
Yeah, right. And there's always going to be that person there, but like again, that I think I like you touched on something really good there. It's like even us, like when we put ourselves into an uncomfortable position, we get uncomfortable. You know what I mean? Like it was that I said to myself, I was like, I know I'm not good at this. That's why I'm going to go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so it's like but there's an anxiety thing there. Like even when I went to the aerial class, I've never done aerial pole, so like I shouldn't think I'm going to be great at this. You know what I mean? But still in the back of my head, I'm thinking, what if everybody else in the class is good? You know what I mean? And I suck.
Yeah.
Like so, I get it. I understand the anxiety part of it. And like you said, it's been so long since you've walked into a gym and felt like you didn't know what you were doing. Those are scenarios I put myself into where I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm gonna still go do it. I'm gonna
Yeah.
try. At the very least, I'm gonna try. I may fuck up and I may suck, but I'm still gonna go try. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And I mean, obviously, our nature as an athlete is like we want to do whatever we're doing and be the best at it, but
Yeah.
we're not going to be. And I do think there's power in even like us as coaches or us as athletes saying yes to more things that
Yeah.
are going to make us uncomfortable in the fitness space. Because I'm sure that you leave one of those classes and you find something new that you can challenge yourself
Yep.
with or teach one of your athletes that is struggling with a certain position. It's like, it's just more tools in the toolbox at the end of the day and an ego check, if you will.
Hmm.
Nikki and Adair have already started going to Pilates yoga like twice a week together. And then obviously when I'm better, I want to commit to at least once a week. And I just think it's really good for the yoga purposes of like your mental health, like getting out
100%.
of the gym and, finding your center. Yoga is really good with like teaching you breath work and
Hmm.
core work. And then
Hmm.
obviously the stretching and flexibility. Like we all need that for posing and it forces both sides. So
Yep.
like I used to be really, really flexible my first few years of bodybuilding because, like you, I was doing yoga 5 days a week before that. So, and then obviously when I transitioned into bodybuilding, I didn't do it anymore and I've lost all
Hmm.
that flexibility. So
Yep.
it's like whatever you put your mind and attention to, it's going to get better. So that will probably be something I go back to for sure when I'm retired is being a little yogi girl again because it's so
Yeah.
challenging. It's just a completely different way to move your body and a new challenge.
It is. It's challenging and it's different. And like I was saying, like the class on Wednesday was the primal flow. So like the end of it was just like it literally looks like one of those dance things where people are screaming and like jumping around and stuff. And I was like, it was so outside of my comfort zone to be able to do that. And I'm like, I like the people are screaming, literally yelling in the class. And I'm like, that's not me. I can't do this. You know what I
That's
mean?
outside of my
Like,
comfort zone too. Yeah.
yeah, 100%.
I
I was
don't
like,
want to be audible when I'm
yeah,
screaming.
no, no, no. I was like, I was doing the whole dancing thing and stuff. I was like letting go of the energy, but I'm like, I'm not screaming in this class. I'm not doing it. Like, sorry, that's not me. But like it also made me realize like there's still insecurities that I have there. You know what I mean? Like, why can't I just scream like everybody else is? You know what I mean? Like, yeah,
It's
it's like
not you.
okay, no, and it's like
Yeah.
and it's something I'm like that's something that's a challenge. And I was like, why can't I just let go and just do that? Part of me is like, I wish I had that ability to be that free like that.
Yeah. I love that. I feel like you should journal on that a little bit more.
I
Like
know,
really like kind of think into that.
I know, I know what it is. It's like it's the fear of being judged. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And it's one of those things where it's like that's as much as I put myself out there all the time, there's certain things where I still don't. I'm still gonna protect myself. That's a protection mechanism. I'm like, that's too far. I can't go that far with this. And I get it. Like I can't connect to it in that manner yet.
Yeah.
You know what
In
I
that
mean?
same way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, hey, look at Sean's human. She does care what people think every once in a while. You guys already know that
Yeah.
I care about what people think of me, so that's why I wouldn't do that. But yeah, it's interesting. It's like it's almost like situational based
It
too.
is.
Like you when you're in a situation where you feel your most confident self with the people around you, then it's like
Yep.
who the fuck cares? I know that these
Right.
people love me and I've been in this situation 100 times
100%.
before. But when you're in a completely different environment with different people, it starts to cause like those secondary thoughts.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And what also at the very end of the class, the one of the girls that works there came around with her camera, like to film everybody, like for their Instagram and stuff. And that immediately closed me down. Immediately closed me down. I was like, no, I'm like, I'm not comfortable with that. Which I'm not on Instagram all the time. We're on Instagram every fucking day. You know what I mean? But I'm like, this is something I'm not good at. I don't want it just put out there. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah,
So
like you didn't have control over the content and like what you know you're great at training or
right.
posing and yeah, for sure.
Yep.
Like again, remember, social media is a highlight reel,
That's
right? So you're
right.
not going to see people struggling to get into a pigeon pose. You're only going to see the pigeon pose when they nail it.
That's right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And part of me was like, I'm actually going to bring that up the next time I go in there and just be like, listen, I just wanted to let you know how this made me feel, because it was only the last couple of seconds of the class. We were doing our whole like cool down and all that kind of stuff, but it still visibly made me close down. Like
Yeah.
I was like,
It
nope.
affected you in your class, in
Mhm.
your practice.
Sure did.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. And that's what, and I get it. So that goes back to like, I get why people get uncomfortable with like cameras in the gym and all that kind of stuff too. It's like, again, putting myself into in a position where I'm not in control and I'm vulnerable. I don't like that. I don't like that
Nobody
at all.
likes that. Nobody
Mm-mm,
likes that. Yeah, but
mm-mm.
also something that I think is a really good point that you brought up too is that you're going to communicate that back to
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
I think another person or client of theirs might have just been like, "Oh, I didn't really like that," and cancel their membership, right? And
Right.
then that owner doesn't know how that makes you feel and doesn't have the opportunity to fix it or make you feel comfortable. And this isn't Sean going to the person and being like, "You did this and ruined my practice." Like, "Hey, this is the feedback. This is how it made me feel. It's I'd appreciate it if you are going to film. I do not want to be filmed, or,
Yep.
whatever the case may be, or just giving a different perspective. As a business owner, I think that's so important. Like, if somebody doesn't like something at my gym, instead of canceling, like, give me the feedback so I can have a chance to at least rectify it and fix it, because
Right.
maybe I think it's a great idea, but you and five others don't. Well, you're the
Right.
consumer that's putting money in my pocket. I want to make sure I'm catering to you. So,
Right.
yeah, like I think that communication is something that people lack a lot in giving feedback, especially like in the service industry. And it's okay to say and talk about what your needs are. You're
Yep.
paying for a service.
That's right. That's right. That was something too, like this. I'm like sitting here thinking about it. Like, I'd just like to take a moment to welcome our new channel partners, Prozis. If you're unfamiliar with them, go ahead and go down into my description box now, click on the link, go check out their site. They are the leading supplement sports nutrition company based out of Portugal, been around for 17 years. You might be asking what makes Prozis unique? Well, everything that they make is made in-house or with trusted partners. They have to go through rigorous testing in Portugal in order to even get any products on the market. So what you're going to find, you're going to find really high quality, pure supplementation. And one of the biggest things for me is I have some GI issues, so being able to eat some of these more healthy protein treats and things like that and not having gut issues, worth its weight in gold. Go check them out. Click on the link in my description box below. Use the code KUTIES10 to get all of your discounts and even some special surprises. They're always putting out some amazing promotions. Let them know that I sent you and let me know what you think. Thanks again for watching and thank you for supporting our channel. Now, go optimize your own athletic abilities and check out Prozis.com. In the yoga class, there was a guy there right behind me. So I thought the studio actually was all women. It's not. There's men in there too. So there was a guy right behind me. And like during the middle of the yoga class, he's standing on his yoga mat texting on his phone. And I'm just like out of the corner of my eye, every time I'm looking, I'm like, first of all, if you're gonna have your phone in yoga, you need to go outside the room to go do that. I'm like, there's got to be some sort of a rule or something where they come in and say you can't do that, because that threw me off. Like every time I like turned and I saw him there, I was like, why is he's literally standing on his yoga mat while we're all in positions texting. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
it's annoying, it's distracting, and
yeah. I'm like, okay, if something's that important that you have to do it right now, go outside the room.
yeah.
Like it completely ruins, again, energy and flow and all that.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely. I mean, I know the old studio I used to train at, like, they were like, you could bring your phone in, but it needs to be face down. And like, if you're going to text or answer a call, like, go that way.
yeah, no, I put my phone on do not disturb. It's so funny because whenever I do that, it's like as soon as I get out of the class, I have like 50 text messages.
Right?
Why did everybody decide to hit me up right now?
That happens to me anytime I have a personal
God.
appointment. I'm like, oh, my phone's been, not, silent all day. This is going to be great. Lay down for a facial, phone call, phone call, phone call.
Yes,
I'm like,
every time.
why this hour? Out of
Yes.
the 10 hours I work, why this hour?
Yeah, it was literally like everybody all at once. I'm like, all right, I guess everybody's getting out of work or something. I don't know. I'm just like, so
Sometimes the
that's, but
universe
again,
is cruel.
yeah, but again, that's why I had it on Do Not Disturb during the class. So otherwise it would have been bang, 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 bang the whole time. And it's not something, it's not, none of it was emergencies. It was all things that was fine when I got out of the class I could respond to. So it's not like I needed to respond to them right that second. But it's like, if I hadn't done that, I would have been that guy standing there texting on my phone the whole time, or my brain wouldn't have been in it at all. You know what I mean? So it's like, we've talked about this whole situational ADD thing, and like I think that that's a big part of it. It's like you got to know when to turn that phone off, you know?
Yeah, I mean, if I feel like if my phone is not
It's
on D and I am in an appointment where I cannot be on my phone, that causes me anxiety. Even if it's
yeah,
a telemarketer calling 4 times in a row, it's
100%.
like, who's calling me? What do they need? I need to take
Yep.
care of it right away. So yeah, D in the gym for sure.
Mhm.
Because that, like, if I hear one thing, my brain goes the other way. I'm
Yep.
mentally checked out at that point. It's
Yep.
so distracting. It's so hard for me to get back to baseline after that.
Yep. Even when like at one point I was in one of the poses in yoga, and it hit my watch went off saying that I like hit my exercise goal for the day, and even that I was like, huh? It's like I was like, oh, we're good, we're fine. I'm gonna go back to it.
I've been better at taking my watch off and like putting my phone on D&D for
Yeah,
things like that for
yeah,
sure.
yeah,
Because that for that same reason. Like it's like
yeah,
it's going off all day long, but
100%.
for whatever reason in that moment when I know I can't do anything about it, it bothers me.
Absolutely, absolutely. And
Yeah.
it's like, and I'm the same way. Like for a long time, I didn't even want to put my phone on to do not disturb because I thought it was like if it's an emergency, da da da. Well, if it's an emergency, they're gonna call 3 4 times and it's gonna bust through. We'll be fine. It's gonna, but it's. I think it's like after 2 times it actually does ring you or whatever. So
Yeah, the
you
setting
know,
is 2 times in a row. It will put it through, and then you can actually add people that go through right away.
it's
So like I have a couple of people that like if they call me one time on D&D, it goes right through right away.
right, right.
Yeah.
So like I've come to that point too. It's again knowing what your triggers are, right? Knowing how to turn those things on and off.
Well, and it's protecting you too. It's
Yeah.
protecting you mentally. If you know somebody that gets distracted a lot or high anxiety, like it's protecting you for whatever you're trying to focus on in that moment to not get distracted, to not raise your anxiety, etc. And it takes practice. It takes
And I've said
practice.
this too, like I've gotten better about just not even wearing my watch, like you're saying. Like there's some days where I just leave it on the charger and I'm just like, it just is what it is. I'll get to it when I get to it. And if you had told me this a year ago, no, I've got that thing on all day, all night, all the time. I'm like, it's on all the time. Not anymore, you
I
know?
know we rely on them so much. Like I didn't have mine on the week that I was recovering from surgery, and it like felt weird. Like it felt
Yes.
like, oh, I'm not
Like something's
tracking my
missing.
steps. Yeah, but it was also like freeing. It was like,
Yeah.
oh, like I don't have to look at a notification every 5 seconds. And my phone was
Yep.
very quiet that week because everybody was letting me rest. But it was like, is this what normal life feels like?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, like, Dan's not on social media at all. He got kicked off Facebook, so he hasn't been able to get back on Facebook. He's not on Instagram. He's not on anything. So other than like I hit him on WhatsApp all the time because he's really bad about looking at his phone. So at least has WhatsApp on his computer. So like if he's sitting there working, he'll get a notification and I'll
I'll
be like,
see
I
it.
called you. Can you call me back? Like he calls it Navy sealing because like if I hit him on his phone, he doesn't respond to me, I go to WhatsApp. Like, and then if he doesn't do there, we have cameras in our house, so I'll go up on the camera.
Talk.
I'll talk at the camera. And he'll just be sitting on the couch watching TV. I'm like, bro, I called you. I'm like, can you
Where's
pick
your
up your
phone?
phone?
Yeah. Oh, Drew just doesn't answer his phone. It's on silent. It's on D&D. Doesn't answer. So I had a conversation with him like 2 months ago. I was like, I need you to try to answer your phone when I call you because
Yeah,
I know you don't like answering your phone.
yeah.
So I'm only calling you if I need to
If I
speak to
have
you.
to, yeah. I mean,
Yes.
that's exactly why I do the WhatsApp thing because I know he'll see the WhatsApp and I know he'll respond to the WhatsApp.
Next thing you're gonna need to
Plus,
send is a pigeon carrier,
right.
a
Plus
carrier pigeon.
our house, we have spotty reception. We actually just got like a landline phone put in the house
Oh,
because the
did you?
Wi-Fi drops out so bad. Yeah. Yeah,
Wow.
it's so bad. Like there's certain areas of our house we have zero reception, none.
That's at your
And
house in Virginia.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and it's in
Yeah.
like a wooded area. Yeah.
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 So like this has happened a few times in the winter where like snow will hit, so our Wi-Fi will go out. If we have no Wi-Fi, we have no phones. We've got
Cancel.
nothing.
Yeah.
We've got no signal. We've got no Wi-Fi. We've got no nothing. So we actually got landline hardwired into the house because of that. Yeah.
Man, who has a landline anymore? My in-laws still do, but that's all I know. My
I
grandma
know.
does.
I know. That's what I was saying too. I was like, okay, let's go back in time right now. Like
Right?
back when I was in high school in the 90s. That's the last time I had an actual like an actual phone.
Beep, boop,
Like
beep, boop, boop, boop.
like one of those rotary phones where you have to do the circles because they don't even know what those are.
Yes, my
Back in
grandpa
my
used to
day.
have one in his house growing up. I used to play with that all the time. So
Yeah.
fun. Good
Yeah.
memories.
And you had to remember everybody's phone numbers because you didn't have auto dial.
Yep. He had a little black book with everybody's phone numbers in it.
Yeah, I still remember my childhood phone number. That's probably the only one I remember outside of my own. And I know
Oh,
Dan's.
damn.
I know Dan's off the top of my head. I know mine, and I know my childhood phone number because it's still my parents' phone number now to this day.
Just
My
as
parents
long as
don't
you know
use
your
it,
husband's number by heart unless you get arrested, in case you get
right?
arrested, you gotta
Yeah.
make that phone call.
I know. Well, the funny part is the reason why I know his number is not because of even his phone. It's because we have like all of our rewards, like for like Kroger and stuff like that, hooked
Yes.
up to it. So whenever I'm in the grocery store, I'm like, do, 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 do. That's the only reason why I know his phone number because
That
everything's
forced
so.
Drew that forced Drew to memorize my phone
Yeah,
number by heart because
yeah.
everything was in all the rewards were in my phone number. That's
Mm-hmm,
so funny. It's so true.
mm-hmm.
Yep.
Hey, whatever works, right? At least I know. At least I have a number stuck up in there.
That's it. At least you got one.
Because again, my parents still have the landline, but they have their cell phones too, so they don't use the landline at all. But I
Yeah,
still, it's
most
still
people that
my phone
have
number.
it don't use it, but
Yeah,
they're stuck in like, I've always had one, so
right,
I'm never gonna get rid of it.
right.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
interesting. It's
Yeah,
fun.
ours that we like I said, we just got it. It's more for safety reasons, especially with coming up on winter again. It's like, okay, this happens every year where we lose signal for a day or something like that.
Oh no, it's
So
smart.
yeah, so if we were to lose signal for more than more than a couple of days, we're screwed. So it's
The
like
one time you need it, you'd rather have it
that's right,
than need it and not have it.
that's right. So
It's probably so cheap, like less
yeah,
than $15
oh, it
a
is,
month or
oh, it is. I
something.
think
Yeah.
I think it's around there. It's somewhere between 15 to 30 bucks a month, something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Super easy.
Anyway, so let's get into speaking of cheap. Let's get into something that's not cheap, which is this sport in general.
Commuting.
So yeah, we've done like a what you need for show day kind of thing as far as budget thing is concerned and stuff too before, but thought we'd kind of update that a little bit and also talk about off season because most of us, like I said, most of us are going into off season right now. So as far as you're concerned, what do you consider to be like essentials for your improvement or off season that you have to keep paying for?
I mean, I would definitely say coaching all year round, whether you're in season or off season. I think a lot of athletes offload a coach in their off season, and that's when the true champion is made, is in your off season. I see this to people all the time. I think it's easy to get lean for a
Mhm.
show, right? It's like the coach is just slashing cardio and or slashing food and increasing cardio and helping you with your PED protocol, but like that's easy. Like where I think you really need a coach is in the off season, like through your reverse and through that accountability and how to navigate the off season, especially longer off seasons and staying in shape and you know really looking at you each week with that unbiased eye and letting you know if you're growing or not. So definitely coaching, and I would say posing coaching too. I'm not sure if you agree with that.
Yep.
Yeah, being a posing coach. Yeah. And then body work as well, especially in off season. Again, people start to focus on things more in prep when it's actually the opposite. Like
Right.
when you're growing and you're in a heavy improvement season, your body is so tight because with muscle hypertrophy, we're ripping the muscle fibers, they're sewing themselves back together, and you're going to continue to get tighter and tighter and tighter. If you're not going in with what you should be doing is your own foam rolling and your own stretching, but then also manual work to kind of help keep releasing that tissue so you can get in a full range of motion.
Mhm.
So I would say those top three for sure need to be like all year round.
Yeah. And I would agree with that. And I think it's more talking about like when you go into prep, you're going into autopilot. You're just going down into prep. When you're in off season, that's where you build everything and you fix everything too. Like when you have hormonal imbalances, things like that, you fix those in the off season. So like you need to have a coach that helps you to do that, whether it's, telling you to go through and get your labs done and things like that. You're trying to rebuild and build more in the off season. So that's when you really need the guidance more than anything else. I really feel like if you have a basic knowledge of cutting calories and increasing cardio, you could probably cut yourself and get into stage shape. You know what I mean? If you have basic knowledge of that kind of stuff. But the building part is the hard part. The growing part is the hard part. And for some reason in this industry, that's the last thing that people like focus on. They focus on what's going to be most important for show day. It's like, no, what's most important for show day is what's going on right now. So working on things like you said, flexibility is huge. This is when you should be getting all those extra yoga classes in and stuff like that because you do have time to do it now too. You're not doing 3 hours of cardio. We should never be doing 3 hours of cardio, but you know what I mean. You're not doing your cardio. You're not doing your posing every single day. This in the off seasons where you build those habits and you create those habits through the coaching and things like that too. So I have a program that I do with my posing clients. It's a backstage pass, so they get 2 sessions with me per month all the time. So even when they're in off season, they can still meet with me. And I have um 5 girls that are consistent about meeting with me and using their sessions. The rest of them will do like one every 3 months.
Yeah.
It's like then the ones that do meet with me consistently, we're not doing anything crazy. We're not reinventing the wheel. We're just checkboxing. We're making sure we're doing the right things. We're not creating bad habits. We're moving a little bit, moving the needle a little bit in the right direction every single time. We try something new every single time. I have a girl now, we're trying to release her upper glutes and all that kind of stuff. So the last session, I had her pose in fit model poses. So I had her push back, and if she's bikini, I had her pose in fit model poses. I had her push back, and then after doing the fit model pose, she came into the bikini pose, and all of a sudden her glute opened up. I was like, look, it's because you opened your hips up. So those are the things we work on when we're in off season. There's things to improve on. When you're in prep, you can't improve on that stuff. It's just there. So this is actually the time to be investing in that stuff even more so. And the cost usually goes down for your coaching in off season too. So it's not as financially of investment. I know with Fit Body, we charge less for off season than we do for on season. Same thing when we're talking about posing coaching. If you're doing my monthly plan, you've got your monthly plan. It's not going anywhere, and it's the same thing. So that cost stays the same. Or if you're buying just posing packages and you're doing 2 a month versus 2 a week, your cost is going down. So it's about maintaining through that off season so that you can build up.
Yeah, I mean, exactly what you said about, you're creating those routines in the off season, and whatever that routine is when you start prep, you just continue that routine. You're not reinventing the wheel when you start prep. You already have those good behaviors down. And then maybe the frequency increases. So, okay, in my off season, I was doing posing, let's just say on average once a month with Sean. Now I know I need to get, once a week with Sean. So, but the routine's already there. It's just more frequency,
Yep.
right? So yeah, it's like off season is about establishing yourself physically, mentally, and financially for the following season.
Yes.
Putting yourself in the best position forward to the next time you step on stage, whether that's going to be in 3 months, 6 months, a year, keeping your eyes on the future. I'm gonna work right now with my coach on building and getting my feedback put together so the next time I step on stage, I'm more competitive. I'm gonna work on, okay, I was spending, $1,000 a month on hair, makeup, travel, blah, blah, blah. I'm gonna put that money into savings for next year's shows
Mhm.
and continue to save that money. Maybe you have some mental health stuff, coming out of prep. A lot of us struggle with like the post show blues and
Yep.
reverse dieting and our relationship with food, our relationships with the people around us, our coworkers. Putting your efforts into those as well. Like
Mhm.
off season is your time to fully rejuvenate and get everything in your life back on track so that you have a successful in season prep the next time it comes.
Yeah. And let's talk about actual costs here too, because one of my one of my pet peeves is when somebody tells me what my rates should be.
Mm,
I'm like, I had that happen. Like, well, this is the average rate for a posing coach. I was like, well, I'm not an average posing coach. You know what I mean? So it's like, if you want the average posing coach, go to the average posing coach.
yeah,
Sure,
get
you
what you
can
pay for
find
it.
people. That's right. I'm like, sure, you're gonna find people that can pose you for $30 an hour or something like that. I'm 125. I'm not the most expensive. I'm
Yeah.
not. I'm middle of
No.
the road. I'm like, but I'm also not $30, and I'm not going to take $30. You know what I mean? So it's like you have to understand what you're paying for. You're paying for the experience, you're paying for the eye, you're paying for the organization too. I can't tell you how many times I've heard from girls that are just frustrated because they'll hire the cheap posing coach, and then that posing coach doesn't show up for their posing session.
Yeah,
You know
they
what I mean?
cancel on them 100 times in a row. They can't even get them on the phone. I wouldn't
Right.
wanna show up to work either for $30 a
100%.
session.
100%. No. No.
Like,
So yeah, it's
would
like
you?
no,
Like,
not at
listening,
all.
would you wanna show up to an hour appointment for $30? No.
Mhm. Nope.
You're not getting
Nope.
paid that.
Nope. So understand that if you want the investment in you, you've got to make the investment in them as well. You know what I mean? So that's something there. And the coaching too. Coaching can go anywhere from, I don't know, $200 a month to $400 a month, sometimes more in off season, things like that. So again, understanding the kind of coaching that you want. Like there's a difference between hiring me and hiring a Jamie DeBernard, right? There's a difference, and you're going to pay more for her because her time is more limited than mine, and she's better at what she does, just being real. She's created a ton of Olympians, you know what I mean? So realize that if you want that kind of level, you're going to have to pay for that kind of level, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, and that's why there's so many coaches out there, and there's different coaches for
That's right.
everybody, personality wise and
Right.
financial wise. I understand being a first time athlete, not everyone can afford $400 a month,
Right.
$350 a month for coaching. I would say about 350 now for like a decent coach in our industry is about going rate. But everybody's financials are different, and not
Mhm.
to even not to say that a coach that's less than that is nor better nor worse. Everybody is, it's all
Right.
relative. But the higher that you do get in the ranks, you are going to probably need to hire a coach that has more experience at a pro level, an Olympia level, and whatever level that you're at. Especially if you're with a coach and you're kind of stuck. And that's what kind of happened with me and my first coach. He's still one of the most amazing, brilliant men I've ever met. However, just when we got to that top level of nationals, it just wasn't hitting the mark,
Right.
So that's when I hired Jamie, and obviously everybody knows where I'm at today. So it's just you kind of get into those situations where starting with a small local coach and like kind of maybe even saving at that point, right? Like you're investing in a coach that maybe doesn't know the sport entirely, but it's what you can afford, but you're
Yep.
also putting money in your back pocket knowing like I am going to want to afford somebody that I know really understands the bikini criteria one day. And that's all with financial planning.
Yep. Yep. And it's also understanding where you are too, because I think a lot of girls come into the sport thinking I'm going to be the next Olympian. Okay, but you're not right now. You know what I mean? Like when I first started, I did not have a big budget for coaching. I didn't. I was poor at that point, especially for this industry. So I took the time to, yes, I had a coach, but also educate myself too.
Yeah.
So if you're willing to take on some of those responsibilities about educating yourself and that kind of thing, then yeah, you probably could afford a lesser coach. And I'm not saying lesser, I'm just saying less expensive coach. A lot of the reason why some of these coaches are so expensive is because they literally do everything for you. You just have to execute. So if you're willing to take on some of those responsibilities for yourself, go learn macros, go learn exercise, science and things like that, then you can probably get somebody who's not going to give you as much time and attention as somebody else who doesn't know those things would need.
Yeah.
So, taking into account, you can have your own time investment versus financial investment as well and still make good progress. I mean, I say it all the time. When I won my pro card, the coach that I had at the time wasn't doing my training. I was. All he did was my diet and my cardio. I did my own training. This is a different time, the time and place and all that kind of stuff. And I may not be able to get away with that today, but I still won my pro card just paying for my diet and my cardio.
Yeah. And too, like to back to like recognizing where you're at, like a first time athlete is not going to necessarily see value in hiring Jamie.
That's right.
Right? Until you really get through your first season and understand what coaching looks like.
Yep.
What you need, but you didn't know that you needed it, but you know it now that you're talking to other athletes or getting more experience in the sport or listening to podcasts. And then you get to that first show and you're like, man, I love this and I want to go far.
Hmm.
Now you're almost willing to adjust your finances to be able to afford a more expensive coach because you have more value placed into that. So it is about kind of where you're at mentally, physically, and where you want to go from here.
Yep.
What is the goal at the end of the day, and asking yourself truly if the person that you're working with, or maybe you did self coach your first time,
Yeah.
are they going to be able to take you there? I'm working with mostly high level national athletes at this point in pros. So when I'm on a call with somebody and they're leaving their coach, most of the time what I'm hearing is, I love my coach. They're fantastic. They're a great friend to me. I really have nothing negative to say other than I'm not making progress. And I know that my coaching right now is not pushing me to be the best of my ability.
Yep.
And my coach doesn't go to shows. So my coach doesn't understand the bikini criteria. Those are most of the things that I'm hearing right now. And it's true. Not every coach is not at every show. Not a lot of coaches do what Fit Body does with sending coaches out to shows every single weekend. I think that the training piece that we do, and because we are on site most of the time, is one of our two biggest selling points of Fit Body Fusion
Hmm.
and what makes our coaches great.
That, and also understanding that each coach is going to have their own specialty as well. Like we talked about this before, you're focusing on, higher level national bikini athletes, whereas my focus is more towards, I love the lifestyle and the girls that are coming from lifestyle into fit models, starting in the division, starting and competing. I love that aspect of it. Can I coach higher? Sure. Do I necessarily want to? Right now,
Right.
that's not really my focus. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's not really where I want to be. So, one of the cool things about being in Fit Body too is that we have the option of, listen, I think I've taken you as far as I can or I want to. Why don't you have a consultation with so and so? I think they might be a good fit for you going forward. That kind of thing. I just had this conversation with one of our coaches yesterday. She's got a client that she doesn't do posing, so she asked me to pose her. We've got the resources within our organization to send you to the right person that's going to help you get to the next level. And I think also knowing yourself as a coach and knowing what you want to do with your coaching is important as well. Then you don't get bogged down with the stuff that you don't really want to focus on. I see that a lot of times too. Coaches just take on clients because they need another client. It's like, okay, well, yeah, but if that's not what you're really good at or what you really like doing, like you're actually doing disservice to you and to that client.
Of
Like if I
course.
like I'm not going to take on somebody who wants to do female bodybuilding. I'm not going to do that. I'm not even taking somebody that wants to do wellness. I don't want to do that as a coach. So that would be doing me a disservice. That would be doing you a disservice as a client too. So you got to know what you want and what your focus should be too.
Yeah. And like when interviewing coaches, I think it's great when coaches have boundaries like that
Mhm.
because it does mean that they're not money hungry. You know what I mean? Like they're not
Right.
saying yes to everything just to have another person on their roster.
Right.
I think it's a good sign when you're talking to a coach and they know what their niche is. They're not accepting every athlete. They know the athlete that they want to
Mhm.
work with because they know that they're going to go hard for that athlete and that
Right.
athlete's for them. That is very much my coaching style and my consultation style when I'm
Mhm.
talking to a new athlete that's considering me. I've had so many athletes, especially with the wellness, where they're like, I know you don't do wellness, but could you please? And I'm like, no, I'm not the best coach for you. I'm
Yeah.
not looking at wellness when it's on stage. I'm looking at
Right.
it like it's beautiful, but I'm not studying it. So I'm
Right.
not the best person for you. I think that's a green flag when you're
Absolutely.
on a consultation with a coach that tells you no, no, I don't do that. No, I don't like that. No, I don't want to work with someone like. I think that's a good thing because they
Yes.
they know what they can do and if they can truly help that athlete or not.
Yeah. And again, it's that saying of jack of all trades, master of none. You want somebody that's a master of their trade, whatever that niche is. There's nothing wrong with that. It's actually, like you said, it's a green flag. It's actually a good thing, right?
Yes. Yeah,
So I would say probably in the off season between your coach and between posing and all the things we just mentioned, I would guess, budget about $400 to $500 a month for those kinds of things.
absolutely.
That's where you're going to find kind of a sweet spot for yourself. Again, going back to, this is, unfortunately, this is not a cheap sport. It's just not. It's an investment, and it's a year-round investment. It's not a, okay, we can get on stage and we can do this. Now, if you are brand new, you're just coming in and you just want to get on stage and see if you like it, things like that, that's a little bit of a different conversation. For most people that come in, I get a lot of first timers when it comes to coaching. So for most people, my conversation is, the first thing we need to do is we need to figure out where you are. We need to get your macros set. We got to get all this stuff. We got to see how your body's going to respond to stuff. Most girls, even if they're going into fit models, still need to grow muscle. Most of them do. It's very rare that I look at somebody and I'm like, oh, we can just cut you and put you on
You're
stage.
perfect. Yeah.
It's not going to happen unless, there's exceptions. There's always going to be exceptions. But 90% of the girls that I talk to are like, no, we got to grow first.
Same.
90% of them. Even if they've competed before. Even if I've got a girl now who I've been her posing coach for years, and she just came and signed on with me as a client for coaching. And even her, I'm like, we got to build you before we can get you on stage. It's like, what do you want to do? Do you want to just get up there to get up there? Because if you just want to get up there to get up there, we can get you up there right now. Like, you could compete next week. But
Anybody can.
yeah, yeah.
But
But
what do
that's not
you
what we're
want?
trying to do. Right. That's not what we're trying to do. You want to go to national level eventually. She's going to fit model. I'm like, you want to go to national level eventually. In order to do that, we got to grow your glutes and your hamstrings. We got to get you solid. So, and she's cool with that. She's fine. But again, going back to, that's the majority of people. So it's very rare that you're going to just be able to jump right on stage, unless you just want to do it to do it. Right.
And to add that note, if you're listening right now and you're like, well, I do want to step on stage next summer, now's the time to hire the
100%.
coach. That way we
100%.
can put you through a little bit of a growth phase and get your food up high. And that way you're
Yes.
not having a shotgun prep. I tell girls on this consult call all the time, I'm telling you that you need to grow. You're going to go have a consultation call with Joe Schmo next week. He's going to tell you that he's going to take you through a 16-week long prep right away because he wants your money. And
Yep.
that's fine as long as you understand what the goal is and you're doing it healthy. But for me, I like to do things the right way. So no,
Mhm.
we will not be doing that. But
Yes.
just God, that bothers me. That really irks me.
I know. I know. Well, then they get turned off from the sport and they don't want to come back and all this kind of stuff. And it's just, yeah, it's a whole cycle.
And then you get on the consults with them and they're like, well, my first coach like dug me into the ground. It was a 16-week long prep. I wasn't lean enough. And the first thing I asked them is, what did you tell them that your goal was when you were on the consult call with them? What
Mhm.
did you tell them? Because I think so much too, like we blame it on the coach when we need to take responsibility as the athlete of what did we
100%.
tell that coach,
Absolutely.
right? And like, or did the coach, say, no, we can do this. And there are both sides, but I think a lot of the time we forget to realize that we're the one that said we wanted this and that we were accepting their help to do it. And
Right.
then we're blaming them on the backside. It didn't go the right way.
Hmm.
I've seen, and that's why I coach the way I do now. It is very, very rare I take on an athlete right away and we go into a prep. I've done it twice.
Hmm.
One made it to stage and the other did not.
Yeah.
And most time because I protect myself because I don't ever want that to come out like, oh, she put me through this really extreme prep. I was, 35 pounds over my last stage weight, and then she ran me into the ground. And it's like, yeah, that's what the
Because
prep's going to look like if
that's
I
what
have
you
no
asked
time to
for.
help you. So yes,
That's
if
right.
you're looking to step on stage next year, first time coming back to sport, like now is the time. So we have time to make sure that you're healthy enough to sustain a prep.
And think about it this way as far as your budget too. Like the more that you're in off season, the more you can save for your on season because
Yes.
once you get into on season for cost, it goes exponentially higher. So,
Yes.
your off season, like I said, budget on the safe side, $500 a month. Let's just say on the safe side. Once you get into on season, your coaching is going to go up, your posing coaching is going to go up, your cost for your actual like entry fee, your membership, your shows, your suits, your tan, your makeup, your hair, all those things start getting tacked on top. So the more that you stay in off season, the more money you can squirrel away for your on season. So think about it that way too, as far as just budget wise, you're budgeting for when you are ready to really rock the stage when you get on stage.
And I think this is more prevalent too for first time athletes. Like, in my opinion, first time athletes, your first season is expensive because you have to get everything for
Everything.
the first
Yep.
time. You have to get your NPC card, you have to get jewelry, you have to get the suit. And a lot of these things that you're buying, shoes, a lot of these things that you're buying up front, you can use your second season
That's
and
right.
save yourself money that way. So, when I'm working with a first time athlete, most of the time we're at least building for 6 months to a year. I already have a list of all of these items that they're going to need by day one of prep. And
Mhm.
now they're slowly buying them 1 month at a time. That way, they're not doing a $4,000 order for everything they need right before prep. And now we're getting into prep expenses with things going up and travel costs and hair and makeup and tan. So, if I'm working with a first time athlete, we're going into an improvement season, I'm sending them this list. And what I encourage them to do is every other month or every month, depending on how long we plan to be in that off season, buy one thing at a time. That way, you're not going out of pocket so much at once.
Yeah. And if you're smart about it too, I mean, putting these stuff on payment plans, things like that nowadays is all things that you can do. Everybody will work with you. If you buy stuff on Amazon, they can take payments and all that kind of stuff too. You know what I mean? So just be smart about how you're budgeting for that money. One of the thing I was going to mention, one of the hidden costs I think of off season that people don't think about is food. My
Very good point.
my food cost goes through the fucking roof in off season because I'm
Drew and I
eating too
just
much
did our
more.
budget for next season,
Yeah.
and yeah, food it's a very big line item and is extremely expensive.
Especially when you're doing all these whole proteins. I mean, we're talking about tons of chicken and eggs and beef and all that. Like, it's a lot of money for food. Like Dan always jokes that he's feeding a small football team with me. Like it's the truth. It's expensive. The food's expensive. So, part of places where you can cut costs. I mean, I get everything from Costco. Everything. I know you can do meal prep services. I used to do that kind of stuff. I used to do that, but I don't do that anymore. Just again, food costs. It's just too expensive. It's
It's
like
extremely expensive.
I'm not going to spend $12 a meal. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
when I can get all of my chicken for the week for $12. You know what I mean? So it's like being frugal where you need to be frugal. Putting meat in the freezer. Things like that. Cooking for yourself. All of the things that are going to help you to save some money on the food end, because especially in today's economic times too, groceries are just through the roof. I mean, we all know. The prices are starting to come down a little bit. Eggs are starting to drop a little bit. Things like that. But it does add up. It does add up.
That just made me laugh because I was watching the Call Her Daddy podcast last week with Kim Kardashian,
Hmm.
and Alex asked her how much money she spends a year on makeup services. And she was like, she doesn't know, by the way. She was really contemplating it. She goes, I really wish I knew what a carton of milk costs. And I was like,
Can't
to
believe you just said
have
that out
that
loud.
money,
I know.
to
I can't believe
have
you just
that
said that
kind
out
of
loud.
money,
Oh my
right?
God.
Where you don't even know what a carton of milk costs that you feed your children.
God damn. Yeah. Oh
Just that.
Lord.
Anyway, sorry, that was a side note, but I just thought that was really funny.
But again, going back to that's part of this. Like the muscle needs food. So be really aware of that.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, I eat a lot. I mean, most of us do when we're in the off season, and that cuts in half once we go into prep. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So, yeah, it's a cost. It's part of it.
The one
So,
good part about food going down. Yeah, in addition to that too, like your health supplements. So
yes.
I'm very big on this. I'm very open about this because I've had coaches in the past that I've seen do this with athletes. You are never gonna have a $500 supplement bill with me. I don't think you should
Yeah.
ever have that high of a supplement bill unless you're running some sort of like gut protocol or hormonal protocol, and that should only be temporary. But like you should be on some sort of like health subs, vitamins, a couple $100 a month,
Yeah.
if that,
Yeah.
your intra workout shake and things like that. So that needs to be in your budget for sure as well, especially in the off season, because we cut out powders and things like that in prep. So that cost is going to come back in off season.
Mhm. And I think something that
Lab work.
this is, yeah, this is something that a lot of girls assume too, is that when they start doing this, they're just going to be handed sponsorships and stuff like that, and that does not happen. So they just assume, well, I'll just get my supplement sponsor to take care of it, or whatever it might be. That doesn't happen, you guys. That doesn't happen. So just that doesn't happen. I have sponsors because I have content that they want advertising on, right? Like that's what they want. They don't just hand me money for being an athlete, right? That
No,
doesn't
I
happen.
literally just got my dream sponsors this year, and
Yeah.
I've been in this a long time.
Yeah.
But you have to realize that you need to supply a problem solve for
Yep.
their need, right?
That's
Their
right.
need is they need sales.
Yep.
Well, if you're just Joe Schmo, you turned pro yesterday, sorry, no one knows who you are yet. So you're not going to be the first one on their list unless you are in addition to that like a social media influencer, which
Yep.
you probably would already have those sponsorships in place.
Mhm.
So yeah, no, you don't turn pro and then all these floodgates open. That's
Nope.
definitely not the way it works. I thought it was the way it works too. I remember the day after I turned pro, I was sending all these messages, all these suit companies, and I'm like, I turned pro yesterday. Can I have a sponsorship? And they're like, no.
As somebody who owns business in this industry, that is one of my biggest pet peeves when somebody reaches out to me and is like, "Oh, I love your suits. Can you sponsor me? You've never bought anything from me. How do you love my suit? Like, you've never bought anything."
You haven't even tried the product.
I know,
Yeah,
right? I'm like, how can you say that? For me, it's a huge red flag if you've never even tried my products or
of
services,
course.
and when you want it for free.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Mm-mm.
Yes.
I'm like, no, not so much. So just keep that in mind too. Um, and then once you start going into on season again, all of these costs get inflated. So, we've talked about this too. Even just traveling and stuff like that is more expensive now. So flights, gas, hotels, all of this stuff is more expensive. A lot of the hotels now you do have to pay ahead of time, or they make you put down a deposit and you don't get your deposit back. So, make sure that if you're doing a show, you're ready to do that show before you start putting all this money down, because you will be spending anywhere probably on the low end from 3 grand up to 5, 6, 7 grand per show.
Oh yeah, I was just about to say that. Like I tell my girls at this point, like for every national show, you need to have 3 to 5 grand in the bank.
Yep. Yep. If you're
It
traveling at
just is
all,
what it is.
yeah, if you're traveling at all, make sure you put on an extra $1,500.
Yeah.
you know?
So
So
like if for an athlete that's going to hit right the four main national shows of the season, put that math together. You almost have to have like 15 to 20 grand just kind of sitting there, right? And I know a
I
lot of people do this on credit cards and things like that. Guys, I remember the year I turned pro. Drew's very candid about this. We spent over $100,000 the year I
yep,
turned pro. And that is with me, doing, we right after did pro shows and
yeah.
everything else. And that was my first year of Olympia. Like it was a lot. It was extremely expensive, between coaching for that, and that's with coaching fee, like everything. But it's you have to realize that this is a luxury sport. This is just like, travel cheerleading back in the day. Travel cheerleading, I remember, was extremely expensive. All my friends did it. Like
Mhm,
it's just like that,
mhm,
unfortunately. And you can cut costs. Like I think like DIY tanning helps. With suits, you can rent them and not buy them. I think ultimately that shoots you in the foot down the line because you don't own the suit and then you're just paying fees all the time.
yeah.
But there's definitely ways that you can go about it and cut
Mhm,
costs. But I think that you shouldn't do that really your first season because you got to figure out what works and what doesn't for you. And then keep your stress down as well. And we talked about this on other podcasts. Like, I would never give DIY tanning to a first time athlete. That is just way too much
Agreed.
for them to manage, and everything is
Agreed.
so new. Like, that is just one more thing they don't need to deal with. So it's just really trying to figure out like what you can manage on a show day and a show weekend. Like, Sean loves to do her makeup, it settles her, it's one of her rituals she loves on show day. For me, if I had to do my own makeup, it would make me extremely stressed. So I choose to pay the $200 to get my makeup done every single
Yep.
time to keep my stress low. Sean saves the 200 by doing it herself. So can you learn how to do your own makeup and be taught? Yeah, there's a lot of good tools online now where makeup artists come on and teach you how to do your makeup, but I wouldn't do that your first season.
Yeah. And this also brings up another point too. People don't realize how much finances can be a stressor going into a show. So like it's one thing if your physique is ready, it's another thing if your finances are ready, right? So if you're going to be stressed financially to do a show, push it back.
Do
Because
not do it.
yeah, because all it's going to do is it's going to affect your physique, right? So that cortisol spike, you're not going to be able, like, there's going to be things that are going to go wrong. Your hormone panels are going to be off if your body is stressed out, things like that too. So you have to take that into account as well. Don't do this if you're trying to just bubble gum it all together. You know what I mean? It's if that's going to stress you out more than just waiting a few more months where you're going to be financially capable of doing this the right way, do it that way, you
Yeah.
know?
A really easy example of this is like most shows are on a Saturday. If you can't afford to come into the show on Thursday to make sure that you get there, get
Mm.
relaxed, have a good night of sleep, versus coming in on Friday where you're just trying to save one night of hotel, but then you're coming in at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. You haven't even put your stuff down. Check-ins are in an hour. You're up late getting your pump up in. Like, to me, you shouldn't be doing the show. And also to me as a coach, you're handcuffing me
That's right.
because now we just went through this 20-week long prep and we're blowing it the last 24 hours because I can't show up my best and peak you correctly because you're running around burning through food, cortisol's through the roof, and this would have just been a really simple fix if you just coming in one day earlier. Like, to me, if you can't afford an extra night at the hotel, like, you shouldn't even probably be doing the show financially.
Agreed.
So think about that too. Like, this isn't just about like the finance. This is about how the physical response
That's
of the
right.
finance is going to blow the physique. You don't want to step on stage for $250 a pop. It's probably even more expensive than that now for nationals, cash only, and you're doing
Yeah,
multiple classes if you can't give it your all on peak
100%.
week.
100%. And that's something too to understand your goals too. It's like, so somebody I get this question all the time. People ask me like, when am I going to compete in fit model? I said, I don't really know yet because we don't have a schedule out yet.
Schedule.
I
I
have no clue. I'm like, and then I mentioned it's not going to be the first couple of shows of the year. I'm going to look at the schedule, things like that, and because I also want to see what it looks like once it gets on the pro stage. I'm like, I'm not going to go through a prep, waste my time and my money just to bring up the wrong kind of criteria. You know what I mean? And somebody actually mentioned to me, they DM me and said, well, why don't you do the first couple of shows and try to shape the criteria? I said, because I'm 44 years old and I'm not stupid. like I'm not gonna shape the criteria. I'm not looking to go to the Olympia. That's not what I'm looking to do. What I'm looking to do is bring my best possible physique for what I have at my age towards the best possible criteria. And that's not going to happen until we actually see it on the pro
See it.
stage, right? So why am I going to waste my time, my money, and my effort going into these early shows where I'm just throwing a dart and hoping it hits something? You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, so you take into account where you are and where you want to be too. If your goal is to eventually become an Olympian and you don't have the funds to get to a national show, take a minute so that you can save the money so that when you go into the pro league you can actually go there and compete there. You see what I'm
Correct.
saying? You know what I
Yes.
mean? Like that's the pro league's still going to be there. You know what I mean? So take the extra, 6 months to a year to save that money so that when you get into the pro league you can actually use it, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I agree with that. I wouldn't want to necessarily be on the first couple of shows. I wouldn't want to be the
Mhm.
trailblazer because the fact of the matter is, it's going to change or it's going to get very direct in what it is. And I want to see it first so I
Right.
know what we're
100%.
working towards, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. So, take all those things into account too. And like I said, there's nothing wrong with staying off stage for a little bit longer. You'd be surprised. I get this from clients a lot where they're like, well, I don't want to take a full year off season. That's so long. It's really not that long. It goes by really, really fast.
I've done it
Now,
twice and
yeah,
it's glorious. If you
yeah.
really find the mental fortitude, just like Sean saying, it goes by so fast and you get to put together so many other pieces of your life so that by the time you do start prep, financially you're in a good spot. You spent the last year with your husband and your kids traveling, they're good. They're like, "Okay, mom, like have fun for the year." Like everything is just in such a great place by the time that prep starts and you're chomping at the bit to prep. You're ready for food to go low.
Yeah.
You're ready for cardio. You're excited. Like it really is a beautiful process if you could find that mental fortitude. And everybody's biggest thing is, well, I don't have a show on the calendar. You don't need a show on the calendar. Put your dream pro physique up on the refrigerator and remember that girl is what you're working towards every single day. Like
Yep.
keep identifying with your why. And there's something really truly powerful in like that delayed gratification as well.
Absolutely. That's I think back to my 4-year retirement. Like when didn't get on stage for 4 years. I was still involved in the industry. I was still going to shows all the time, all that kind of stuff. But I took the money that I would have used for competing and I paid down all of my debts. I was able to buy a house. I was able to do all of the things, the life things that happened. Where if I was continuing to compete, I would have just been burning through all that stuff. I'd have been burning through
Yes.
all of it. So,
Yes. I agree. Like one of the years I put all the money I was going to, invest in competing. And that was the year I decided that I wanted to be a contest prep coach. So I still went to shows
yep,
and it made me feel more cognizant of my body and
yep,
not binging because I was showing up to, in front of judges and promoters and other athletes each weekend. I was studying the sport. That was the year I truly like trained my eye and became great at looking at bikini, and I invested in something else and I still stayed relevant. I still
that's
was
right.
in it. And I think people forget that, especially when they really start to love the sport, start doing well in the sport. They put all of their eggs in one basket. Now it's their identity, it's their everything. Any extra funds goes to it. And then life just kind of gets tossed to the side. Life is still going to be
It's still
waiting
gonna be
for
there.
you.
Yep.
Yeah, like
When you get
there's
on
going to be a
stage, it's
time
still
when you do
there.
not compete anymore and your car payment is still going to be around.
Right.
So, right, like it off season is a beautiful opportunity to do so much if you mentally allow for it. It's not
Hmm.
just about bodybuilding and building the physique. Remember, this is your hobby, but like if you truly put those efforts into something else, man, you could do so much. I know so many of my athletes that have built businesses in their off season, obviously grew on the side, went on trips and felt empowered going on trips and correcting their relationship with food, did therapy on, traumas that they wanted to work on, and off season's a good time for that. You're not getting on stage. It doesn't matter that you just had a 3-hour session with your therapist and you're crying for a couple of
Right.
days through a traumatic
Right.
event. Like, but now getting into that next prep and we just did all of that healing. It's just it's so great. It's so good if you can find other goals in your off season to focus on other than just bodybuilding. And that's what's going to keep you, motivated is the start of the ignition, but you need to keep the momentum going.
Yes. I think that's also just the love of the sport in general, because just because you're not on stage doesn't mean you're not a bodybuilder. You know what I
Not
mean?
at
Like,
all.
Like the love for what we do happens in the daily grind. It happens in the gym. It happens in what we cook every day. That's where the love of it comes from. It doesn't come from on stage. We've talked about this before. I actually don't like show day. I like performing, but the actual show day itself, it's not my favorite day.
Yeah.
It's a pain in the ass. That's not where my love for this comes from. My love for this comes from how I feel from doing it every single day. you
Yeah.
know, and
And
that's
how
what
we
we can
got into it in
focus
the
on.
first place. It wasn't,
Yeah,
we didn't decide one day I'm going to train because I want to step on a stage one day. We decided to train because we wanted to train. And then we kept
right.
coming back because we liked the results and how it made us feel. And I feel like sometimes we get into competing and then we focus so much on stage day that we forget why we actually started doing this in the first place.
Absolutely. And again, it gets you back into your focus. I see this happen a lot with clients where they're just like, they get into an off season and they were just so focused on their ultimate goal of stage that once they're in off season, they're kind of lost.
Correct.
They don't have the joy for it anymore. They don't have the love for it anymore because they didn't spend the time cultivating that. They spent the
Yeah,
time focusing on, I got to get on stage and I got to hit this goal, right? So more so cultivating your love for why you're doing this. And sometimes that shifts. Like I said, for myself, like going in and doing these yoga classes and stuff like that for me now, it's like, oh, that just revives me, right? Because for the last year, I've been doing the same freaking glute program every 3 days. You know what I mean? So it's like you get to a certain point, we've talked about this, you got to love what you do as well as the competing aspect of it. So finding what that is that keeps you excited and motivated every single day to do this versus just getting on stage in X number of weeks or months.
absolutely. 100%
Um,
agree with that.
yeah. And then be prepared, get yourself into a position where if you do have to spend extra money, you're prepared to do that. It's not an extra stressor. I know that's easier said than done, especially in today's society and today's economic standings and all that kind of stuff. I get that. It's a luxury sport. So again, use this time to rebuild. Not just your physique, but also your financial background and your stability, home life stability. All of that matters when you're going into a prep. You want it to be smooth and easy. And if it's not going to be that way because you're stressed about these external things, maybe it's time to just sit back and say, okay, I'm going to budget my $500 and continue to stay in off season.
I mean, what would we say about if your girlfriend was talking to you and it wasn't bodybuilding and some stressor was affecting her life and with her mental health or her budget or whatever? You would be like, it's not worth it. Don't
Right.
do that. Or you need to
Right.
spend more time. Say, like, what would you say to your girlfriend in the same scenario? Take bodybuilding out of it. We would all say the same thing. Bodybuilding is no different. The only difference is that we are very obsessed with our sport, obsessed with our bodies and the way that we look. So, of course, we're like, I want to prep. I want to get on stage, even though I'm going through divorce and I don't really have the finances, but I'll figure it out. And I don't have
Mhm.
childcare and I'll figure, like everybody was saying, I'll figure it out. And I'm like, no, you're not going to figure it out in the moment. We need to make sure that this is all figured out before we even start talking
Mhm.
about prep. Like
Yep.
unfortunately, this is the only way I could say this, like how people just like have babies because they think it's going to fix a marriage or it's going to, and it's not. And
Oh,
prep is the
that's a
same. It's
great
not going to
analogy.
fix what's going on at home. It's only going to make it worse.
Right.
Like prep should be your only stress the day that you start prep, nothing
Yep.
else.
Yep.
Everything else should be in your life should be pretty copacetic. You've worked on that in the off season. That's what we've been talking about for the last hour. Then when you start prep, it's like, okay, things are really good. And then when you're 6 to 8 weeks in and we get that, 5-week freak out moment, that should be your only stress.
That's right. That's right.
Am
Because
I
again, then you
ready?
can,
How do I look? Does my
yeah,
coach happy? Like those are the stressors.
because then you can manage it. And we're not
Yeah.
saying that your life has to be perfect before you prep. We're not saying that either.
No.
There's a balance here, but we're just
Yes.
saying prepare yourself for that balance to get swung one way or the other and you'll be okay. You
Control the
know.
controllables.
That's
Yes.
right. That's right. Have a safety net, have something there that's a fallback so that you don't, when you get in the moment, if the shit hits the fan, you have something to clean it up with.
Absolutely.
You got some wet wipes.
That's it. And if you're listening and you're like, well, what does certain things cost and like things like that? We have done a full episode
Yes,
on
we
that.
have.
So try to find that episode. It's been a couple years, so I might have to go into the archives on that one. But we have done a full episode where we kind of went like line by line of
We did.
like what a suit should cost, what makeup costs, what travels cost. So like if you're trying to like put that budget together, go look for that episode. Maybe Sean can tag it or link it. But
Yeah,
that one
I'll
was a
find it
really
and
good one.
stick it in the description box. But like the I would say just on average, 3 to 5 grand a show. three
Yeah,
to five grand a show. On
100%.
average. Yeah. So and that's just for the prep for the show and all the stuff that you got to do for the show. It's not your off season. It's not anything like that. It's travel, it's your suit, your hair, your makeup, all that stuff.
Correct. Yep.
Yeah. Cool.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, with that, we'll wrap this up for today. Yeah, that's all I got. Anything else you wanted to add?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Put yourself in a good spot, basically. And remember that the love of the sport is not just the love for the stage, right? The love for the sport is the whole sport, which is all year round. So just focus on that when you are not able or ready to prep.
That's it. Absolutely.
All
Absolutely.
right.
We're all getting into off season, so everybody
Yeah.
enjoy. If you're coming
Yeah.
off stage soon, make sure you reverse. The holidays are coming up. Like,
Mhm.
we're all going to be in off season here
Yeah.
soon. So everybody is about to be on the same level playing field. Enjoy it, embrace it, work on your mindset around it, put some good goals down for your off season other than bodybuilding goals. We all know what our bodybuilding goals are, but go back to your why, refocus on your why. The new year's coming up. Those are all things that are going to keep you on the straight and narrow, and budgeting accordingly financially and with your mental health.
Yeah. And take it as a plus if you have to stay in off season a little bit longer because of physical reasons or whatever, building reasons. Take it as an opportunity to save more money for when you actually do prep again.
Yes. The more money you
Cool.
have in the bank, the better.
Hell yeah. Yeah. Fat stacks.
That's it.
Fat stacks, big S's. Okay, we're done. I'm going to stop now because I'm going to sound like a really bad rapper right now. But
And my computer's on red and about to die. So
all right, we got this. We got this. Okay, guys. Thank you guys so much for joining us again. With that, as always, like, comment, subscribe, and we will be back again for our next episode next week. For Behind the Bikini, we are out. Bye, guys.
bye, guys. Jinx.